Bem-vindo ao canal Bons Espíritas.
The image above was drawn by the spirit Vincenzo in 2025, and clarifies with great precision details the gate of heaven in reduced size to fit on a sheet of paper, and for the understanding of the spirits incarnated in their various stages of evolution, promoting the construction of the events that occurred after disincarnation. This art encourages the reader's imagination with intelligence to idealize the gate with greater and cleaner clarity, moving away interpretations of spiritist books that bring addresses as if the entrance and exit were simple, worrying about another existing building in the spiritual plane, without great details of the passage. Starting with the Gate of Heaven proper number 1, with the title Welcome to the Gate of Heaven, demonstrating that the entrance is unique to the various heavens, synonymous with several addresses. The gate receives all recent disembodied, and the construction is huge to hinder the vision of everything that exists behind the bars. It was idealized by the spirit Peter, who redefined it in the first centuries of creation. Until then, after the disincarnation, the rescuer's spirits came to the most evolved spiritual plane to seek the recent disincarnated and take the light of the various dwellings or the threshold, which was too laborious, difficult to make them travel in the various planes, carrying and bringing negative energies with you during passages through the involute and threshold planes. With the gate and triage, there was better organization. The exchange of energy between the planes quickly decreased, and the place became a meeting point for the spirits of the various dwellings. In this way, only the evolved ones to whom the triage descends are not the rescuers who need to ascend. After disincarnation, the deceased are sought by the rescuing spirits in suitable spaces of spiritual transport and left at the gate. The recent incarnates wait one by one for the entrance in line, and may remain silent or speakers. Let us note that the disembodied spirits waiting for the call by the gate bring with them a series of worries and feelings, because they are still very impregnated with the incarnated life, but they are already in a stage of total detachment from matter, so that the peri-spirit keeps with them physical traits, sentimental stains and subjectivities that are easy to treat and cure, even if possible illnesses in material life have no medical cure, or even if they exist and are inaccessible to the poor. All these earthly remnants are represented in Vincentian art by the signs placed above the heads. Example extracted from the drawing and in miniature on the left. Note, if the peri-spirit still finds difficulties to get rid of the physical body, the disincarnation occurs normally and naturally. But the spirit remains in that spiritual plane of trials and atonements, wandering through it, leaning against or gaining mocking characteristics, delaying its evolution and harming the evolution of other spirits, these incarnated. Keep in mind that being at the gate does not mean entering the home of the parents, nor access guaranteed by as much as before the specific indication of which home the spirit settles, if it is in rest, residence and studies.
Is there any chance that the ghosts of the Legion Evangelists will conduct the screening?
Number 2, which can direct the recent disembodied to the infirmary towers. Number 3, the rooms evangelists not present in the art, and the towers of light. Number 4, or forward the threshold not present in the art. All these nuances of sorting are addressed in Vincenzo's art, commented on during the queue. The fulfillment of the heavenly contracts endures, and only accessed after effective entry. Although they are not accompanied by their spiritual mentors during the queues that will wait for all their wards after the door, when they will talk about the next steps, explaining the acts and the consequences, the spirits, while waiting, receive all the energies emanated by the bereaved coherments, whether positive or not. And they should remain printed and prayed for a quiet sorting and forwarding. In addition, other spirits receive visits, these already evolved, who advise, welcome, ask for silence and patience, giving attention to each one in their requests. As mentioned, the screening is carried out by thousands of brethren of the Legion of Evangelists, who have accepted the spiritual mission of receiving, welcoming, and directing all entrants to the screening sectors. No one can escape or go unnoticed. He who deceives spirituality deceives himself. The screening is supported by the evolved spirits number 5, who are all residents of the supreme abodes. They manage the screening and queues, seeking spirits with significant merit and achievements, ensuring these chosen ones do not have to wait or pass through numerous evangelistic screening sectors. After the reception by the evangelists, the first possible route is the infirmary towers of the infirmary number 3, which are 4 in all, distant from each other by kilometers distance, and that from one tower to another the eyes cannot reach, and are lost in the distance of the horizon. In the picture we can see the evangelists carrying the spirits in apples. For the towers of the infirmary, the brothers passing through the gate bring with them an array of stains, diseases, feelings, and difficulties that taint the spirit and require treatment before reaching the various dwellings. The decoration process for these dwellings can take anywhere from a day to a century.
Or the stains by
spirituals are transformed
in energy,
which are exhaled
by the upper top of the towers, and demonstrates the purification done
in all the individuals who are present there.
After the infirmary, the treated spirits are directed to the Tower of Light number 4, where they will leave the physical traces of face and body to transform into light. It is important to know that the perispirito is the link between the spirit and the matter, very marked by the interferences of the body. Diseases are the main reasons why the perispirit degrades, which is the case in the Torres ward of ward number 3. However, the more years the spirit remains incarnate, fulfilling its trials and atonements, the more the perispirit can be seen with traces of the physical physiognomy, traces of the face. From the body itself, and with the sounds produced by the vibrations of the vocal folds, the voice. The total disentanglement of the memories of the physical body will occur in Tower of Light number 4. In this place, therefore, the brothers already treated are directed to the various addresses of the Father, depending on the degree of evolution of each one. They are transformed into beams of light and can only be recognized by the energy they exude. An example of an address is dealt with in number 6. There you can see an example of the spiritual houses, all the same to show the equality between all, and they can be built or already be built. There you can see some of the thousands of buildings, where one studies, holds important meetings, contracts genetics, the promotion of reincarnation. There you can see some round residences that are of the teachers of spirituality in their various teaching chairs and essential to the evolution of being. Is it possible to design all the buildings? Some. For not being known by the Spiritist books in the current stage, others for not being understood, even if they could be in the books by the incarnated in the current stage, regarding the Tower of Light number 4 can still be accessed by the recent incarnated that very evolved. They do not enjoy the need to undergo treatment in the Tower Ward of Ward number 3. That is, they can be directed there without any intermediate passage, room of the Evangelists or Infirmary. Note how said spirits of the Supreme Abodes number 5 can take spirits out of the queues and direct them to the abodes closest to the Father. The rescued are evolved spirits who have been in earthly process to help others, bringing light, advanced spiritual knowledge and with great responsibilities, interventions in intelligent societies. These are taken directly to the abodes by the evolved spirits. Different is the case of spirits than during the incarnate life. Did they fulfill so many heavenly clauses, and follow so faithfully the Christian Spiritist morality, that the journeys served for great leaps in evolution? These need to go through the whole process, and their excellent victories are rewarded with direct targeting to the Towers of Light number 4. Finally, there are the thousands of evangelist rooms located behind the gates, in which the evangelists welcome the newly disincarnated, explaining that many of the acts during the passage were not correct, and that the clauses were, for the most part, unfulfilled. This conversation, which is accompanied by the spiritual mentors, results in two options, or if you take the newcomer to the ward towers of ward number 3, I am the threshold, the definition of which is attributed to the beneficiary himself in the exercise of free will. There is a possibility of going to the infirmary because not all choices were wrong. There was a positive minority. This indicates that the spirit was not in a state of total misalignment of spirituality or deliberate ignorance, but rather in a state of later evolution. No great conduct can be demanded of him in the face of proofs and atonements. Therefore, even in the face of the difficulties of trials and atonements, Providence gives the option of treatment, acceptance, and healing. If the spirit disagrees with the actions and consequences, spirituality makes use of television recordings, reports written by the spirits who accompanied him throughout the passage of the sampling of the contract, and in so many other ways to explain that a certain act in the improper exercise of free will contradicts the principles of charity, love of neighbor, collectivity, that ultimately contradict Christian morality according to teachings of Christ. This demonstrates, again, the attempt of Providence is to clarify situations and help the disembodied in overcoming those obstacles, giving him treatment, welcome and healing. Still, some prefer to go to threshold because it maintains disagreement, is belligerent, or proves that the misuse of free will was not the fruit of later evolution, self-interest to harm others or oneself. Such situations do not fit spiritual treatment, an intimate and deep self-reflection that can only be carried out by the UMBRAL itself. Those who accept treatments follow Infermaria Torres from Infermaria number 3, if from there, after purification to Torre da Luz number 4. Finally, UMBRAL can be accessed after the evangelist's room, by choice of the disembodied themselves, exercising their free will, or immediately after disembodied, without any passage through the gate or screening. Common situation in spirits, that use their intelligence to harm themselves and others deliberately. In daily or frequent affronts, the laws of God collaborated for the interpretation of the drawings of the brothers in Christ Tarcisius,